you to shout out your favorite subject to learn about. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think I heard PE and reading. And did somebody say lunch? Mr. Will, was that you? Anyways, raise your hand if science is your favorite subject to learn about. Oh yeah, science is so cool. Today, we transformed this into this by changing the temperature of the can. Now raise your hand if you've ever wanted to transform into something new. Like when you are afraid, have you ever wanted to transform and become brave and courageous instead? Well, it's possible, but you have to change something. You have to change the way you think. But how do we do that? Turn to your neighbor and say, how do we do that? I think we need a teacher because teachers help us think differently. Think about it. Once upon a time, you could only know your ABCs, but then a teacher helped you piece those letters together so now you can read and write. Jesus was a teacher and he loved teaching Peter. Everybody say, Peter! Peter, on the outside, he probably didn't look like us, but on the inside, up in here, he was a lot like us. Sometimes he felt afraid. Raise your hand if you've ever felt afraid. Oh yeah, what do you do when you're afraid? My normal reaction is to shrink. That's right, my faith gets super small when I'm scared. Now Peter had this reaction. And just like a teacher uses really cool science experiments to teach you a lesson, Jesus performed miracles. He blew Peter's mind by doing things that not even science could explain. And Peter learned a whole lot. And I think Jesus can blow our mind today and we can learn a whole lot. So are you ready? Okay, sit up straight and tall because it's story time. Now in Matthew chapter 14, Jesus walked on water. Jesus called to Peter to come out onto the water with him. So Peter started walking on water towards Jesus. But then Peter took his eyes off of Jesus and he was no longer thinking about the miracle Jesus was doing, but instead he was thinking about this big scary storm that was ahead of him. On the inside, he was so afraid. And on the outside, his faith shrunk. Jesus said his faith was little. And because his faith began to shrink, Peter began to sink into the waves. Now, thankfully, Jesus immediately reached out, saved Peter, and pulled him up onto the boat. It was a miracle. Everybody go, whew. Think about it. Jesus walked on water. Doesn't that just blow your mind? What can this miracle, this amazing thing science can't even explain, teach us, boys and girls? The same lesson it taught Peter. How to react when you're afraid. Peter, he was afraid of sinking. He was afraid of the storm. What are you afraid of, boys and girls? Are you afraid of going to a new school? Are you afraid of meeting new friends? Are you afraid of losing something that you really love? Me? I'm definitely afraid of this falling. But our brand new Bible verse, Romans 12:2, says to let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. When you're afraid and you want to be courageous and brave instead, you have to change the way you think. You can't think about all the things you're afraid of, like this falling. Instead, think about the miracle Jesus did for Peter. He picked him up and saved him like this. Boom. Boys and girls, sit up straight and tall. When you are afraid, think about what Jesus did for you. When you mess up, he picks you right back up and he can save you. Now, if Jesus can change your eternity by dying on the cross and raising to life 3 days later, I definitely think he can change you into a new, brave, courageous person when you're afraid. So in the moments that you're scared, think about how the man who walked on water is right there with you. Let Jesus blow your mind. And that is our big idea. Come on, I can't wait to do it all together on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let Jesus blow your mind. Okay, That was great, but I think we need to turn up the volume a little bit, change our voices, be super loud. Come on, don't be afraid of a little fun. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Let Jesus blow your mind. That was incredible. Give yourselves a round of applause.